You know that cycle. You force yourself to the gym for a week, eat healthy for a few days, but it never sticks. You end up feeling like a failure, convinced there's something wrong with your willpower. Sound familiar? What if the problem wasn't your discipline, but your identity?
This isn't just fluffy self-help. It's literal. The word identity comes from the Latin item, meaning the same. Its deepest root points to a powerful concept: repeated being.
Let that sink in. Your identity isn't a fixed statue you're born with. It's a sculpture, carved daily by your smallest, most repeated actions. You are, quite literally, what you consistently do.
Think about the skater in your local park. He doesn't just decide to be a skater. He becomes one by repeatedly failing, getting back up, and practicing. Every scrape is a vote for his new identity. The musician becomes a musician through the practice. The repetition is the becoming. This is where most habit advice fails. It focuses on the what to do, but ignores the who. Who do you become through this repetition? The powerful truth is this: sustainable habits aren't built on grueling discipline. They're built when you start to believe you are the type of person who does those things. Every time you choose to read instead of scroll, you cast a vote for your identity as a reader. It's not about being perfect. It's about the direction of your repetition. This leads to the million-dollar question. How do you actually break the cycle of your old identity and start a new one? It's one thing to understand the concept, and another to rewire a lifetime of conditioning. In the next section, we'll dive into the exact practical framework to do exactly that. Get ready. We're about to get tactical. So we've established that you are your repetitions. Your identity is a living sculpture carved by your daily habits. But this leads to the most important question. How do we consciously sculpt it? How do we go from being shaped by our habits to intentionally shaping them? The truth is, most of us try to change on the wrong level. We focus on the what, the outcomes. I need to lose weight. These are goals, and they're surface level. The next level down is processes, the systems and routines. I'll go to the gym 3 times a week. That's better, more concrete, but there's a third, much deeper level that most people never touch. This is the secret level, the identity level. Lasting change doesn't happen when you just change what you do. It happens when you change who you believe you are. Let me make this practical. Think of 2 people trying to quit smoking. The first says, "I'm trying to quit." They're still a smoker who's struggling. Their identity is intact. They're just fighting it. The second person, the one who succeeds, says something radically different. "I'm not a smoker." Do you feel the power in that? It's not a goal. It's a statement of fact. The habit change is no longer just an action. It's an expression of who they now are. That shift in language is a window into a shift in identity. It's not just semantics. It's a neurological rewiring. You're no longer acting against yourself. You're acting in alignment with your new self. I lived this. I didn't become healthy by just forcing myself to the gym. I became healthy by starting to see myself as someone who values vitality. So instead of saying, "Ugh, I have to work out," I'd say, "I'm the kind of person who moves their body and feels great." It felt silly at first. But then a funny thing happened. Choosing the salad wasn't deprivation anymore. It was a confirmation of my identity. Going for a walk was just what a person like me does. The actions flowed from the identity. That's the powerful, often missed truth. Changing habits isn't just about abandoning an action. It's a restructuring of your inner world. Now, I can already hear you thinking, that sounds great, but what about when I fail? When I, the healthy person, eat a whole pizza. Or I, the writer, procrastinate for a week. Doesn't that shatter my new identity?
This is the most critical part, where almost everyone gives up. We think one failure cancels all our votes, but that's a lie. And in the next section, we're going to dismantle that lie with the single most important concept for making any habit stick for life. It's the thing that makes the process resilient, and it's probably not what you expect. So we've built this new identity, brick by brick. But here's where it gets fascinating. This transformation isn't just happening in your mind. Your habits become your personal code, changing how you see yourself and how the world sees you. Keep the energy alive, but let warmth and sincerity lead. Think about the former smoker who now says, "I don't smoke," instead of "I'm trying to quit." That statement isn't just a line. It's a powerful social and personal declaration of a new reality. Their habits have become the bridge between who they were and who they are now. This really clicked for me with a small habit, making my bed every morning. It felt pointless at first, but after a few weeks, I wasn't just someone who made my bed. I was someone who started each day with order and a small win. That tiny habit echoed through my entire morning, making me feel more organized and in control. The external action was rewriting my internal script. This is the profound truth we often miss. Our habits are the bridge. They connect our inner world of personality and desires with the outer world of social roles and expectations. They solidify our place in our own story and in the stories others tell about us. But this leads to the most liberating question. What happens when we inevitably slip up? When we miss a day at the gym or skip our reading? Does the entire bridge collapse? Does one failure mean we're back to square one?
This is the make or break moment for anyone building new habits. The answer is a resounding, empowering no. In the finale, I'll show you the single most important mindset shift that makes your new identity resilient and unbreakable, even when life gets in the way. This is the secret that makes all the other secrets stick.
So, we arrive at the core engine of transformation. If identity is formed through repetition, how do we start the engine? It's a two-step dance, and most people only ever do the first step. They make a decision, but they never gather the proof.
Step 1 is the decision. This is the conscious choice, I am a healthy person, or I am a writer. This is your blueprint. It's powerful, but alone, it's fragile. It's just an idea. And this is where nearly everyone gets stuck. They make the declaration, and then life happens. They miss one workout, and the whole identity crumbles because it has no foundation. The decision has no weight. It needs proof. That's why step 2 is everything. Step 2 is the proof. This is where habits come in, not as chores, but as evidence. Every single time you do that small action, you are collecting a piece of evidence for the case you are building for your new self. Think about the person who decides to become healthy. They don't start by running a marathon. They start with identity proof, 10 minutes of morning stretches. In that moment, they are a healthy person acting in accordance with their nature. They are gathering proof. A salad for lunch? More proof. I did this when I decided I was an organized person. My decision felt like a lie because my desk was a disaster. So I started collecting proof. I made my bed. Evidence filed. I cleared my email inbox. More evidence. After a few weeks, I had so much proof that the decision wasn't a decision anymore. It was a fact. Your habits are the receipts, the bank statements of your identity. You can't just declare a new identity. You need the small, repeated actions to back it up. This two-step process, decision and proof, is the engine. But there's one final component that acts as the shock absorber.
It's what allows this entire system to survive the inevitable failures, the bad days.
Because what happens on the day you don't gather any proof? Does the court case of your new identity suddenly close? Is all the previous evidence thrown out?
Next, we'll reveal the single most compassionate and powerful concept in habit formation. It's the thing that prevents one bad day from derailing your entire transformation. And it's the key to making this identity shift sustainable for life. This last insight changes everything.
So we have our engine, decision, and proof. But an engine without a navigation system just burns fuel aimlessly. That final, non-negotiable piece that makes it all work is reflection. This is where we move from just doing to understanding why. It's the difference between being on autopilot and taking the controls. Think about the last time you fell off the wagon. That voice saying, "See, I'm just not a disciplined person." That's your unconscious identity reasserting itself.
Here's the critical fact psychologists highlight. The shift from an unconscious identity to a conscious one is only possible with developed self-reflection. Without it, you're a slave to old programming. With it, you become the programmer.
Reflection is how you debug your system. It's that quiet moment asking, why did I skip the gym? Was I tired? Or do I still see myself as someone who avoids it? That moment of honesty is more powerful than any single workout. You're dealing with the identity belief behind the action. I had a breakthrough with this. My desk became messy again. The old me would have quit. I'm just messy. But I reflected for 5 minutes. I realized my tidy desk habit was tied to finishing work. But my new project had no clear endpoint. The trigger had vanished.
I wasn't a messy person. I had a system that didn't fit my reality. I adjusted to a time-based trigger. I tidy at 5 p.m. It stopped. Reflection turned failure into a system upgrade.
This creates a powerful cycle. Decision to action to reflection to stronger belief to more action. Reflection is the glue that makes the proof stick. And this brings us to the grand finale. We've built the entire structure, from understanding we are our repetitions, to the engine of decision and proof, to this navigation system of reflection. But how does this look in messy daily life? In the final part, I'll give you the one single 5-minute ritual that encapsulates this entire framework. This is the habit that sustains all other habits, the master key to building the identity you truly want. Here's a dimension of habit formation most never see coming. This isn't just about your private self-talk. It's about how the world sees you and how that reflection actually solidifies who you are. Your habits don't just shape your inner identity, they script your social role. We are social creatures. A huge part of our identity is reflected back through the eyes of others. Your habits are the public performance of your private identity. Here's a mind-bending thought. Can you act your way into a new identity before you fully believe it? Yes, and it's not about being fake. It's about giving your new self a costume to wear until it becomes your skin. Consider the baker who didn't enjoy cooking at first. Every morning, he'd put on that crisp white coat. He'd tie the strings with care. He'd greet customers with a smile, even when he had to force it. That uniform, that repeated performance, began weaving itself into his social fabric. People saw him as the baker. Their perception became a mirror, and every time he looked into it, he saw a baker staring back. I lived this when starting this channel. Calling myself a creator felt like a stretch, but I developed the habit of scripting daily. When people started commenting, that external validation, triggered by my consistent habits, rewrote my internal code.
I wasn't just acting like a creator, I was one, because my habits had created a social reality that confirmed it. Your habits are signals you broadcast. When you consistently choose salad, friends see you as the healthy one. When you consistently read, family asks for book recommendations. These social interactions aren't just reactions, they're powerful bricks building your new identity. Now we see the full picture, the internal engine of decision and proof, guided by reflection and amplified by this social feedback loop.
Let's talk about the part of habit formation no one dares to mention. What if everything we've been taught about good habits is incomplete? What if the habits we label bad or weird are actually secret tools for building a more creative and resilient identity?
Research into highly creative individuals reveals a fascinating truth. They often have bizarre, counterintuitive rituals. The chaotic desk, the nocturnal lifestyle. From the outside, it looks like dysfunction, but from the inside, it's a highly personalized operating system.
Imagine someone taking a cold shower at 2 a.m., muttering to an invisible opponent. To a stranger, this looks like madness, but to that person, it's a sacred ritual. The cold shock creates hyper-awareness. The monologue pressure tests ideas. This isn't chaos, it's deliberate, unorthodox problem-solving.
Even nail-biting, often seen as just a nervous habit, can be a physical form of emotional regulation. Video games teach strategic thinking and perseverance. These aren't just wasted time, they're virtual playgrounds for developing resilience.
I'll be honest, my most productive writing doesn't happen at a clean desk at 9 a.m. It happens late at night, surrounded by a fortress of open books. My wife calls it a mess. I call it my idea ecosystem. For years, I felt guilty until I accepted this was my process. This apparent chaos tells my brain it's time to connect disparate ideas.
These unconventional habits aren't excuses for laziness. They're evidence that identity isn't one size fits all. Your unique routines are expanding who you are, adding shades of complexity and creativity that rigid, perfect habits could never provide.
Now we have the complete picture: the philosophy, the engine, reflection, social mirror, and these beautiful exceptions.
Let's get down to the bedrock of identity. Did you know research suggests about 45% of our daily actions aren't conscious decisions? They're autopilot. You're running a pre-written script for nearly half your day. If that sounds scary, let me flip it. This isn't a weakness. It's your greatest superpower waiting to be harnessed. This 45% is the invisible architecture of yourself.
Think about brushing your teeth. You don't waste willpower on it. It's automatic, woven into your identity. Now, imagine transferring that same effortless automation to habits that define your life's direction.
Remember our gym example. At first, it required massive willpower. Every session was a negotiation. But after consistent decisions, proof, and reflection, something magical happened. It became automatic. My body would just start getting ready at 6 p.m. I had successfully installed new software into my operating system. This is the ultimate goal. It's not about wanting to stop procrastinating. Wanting is fleeting. It's about embedding actions directly into your automated daily chain.
For me, this was writing. I used to procrastinate endlessly, so I automated it. I anchored writing to my first coffee. The habit wasn't write a masterpiece, it was sit down, open document, write one sentence. Just one. And 99% of the time, one sentence turned into 100. The resistance vanished because it was no longer a conscious choice.
The stronger the automation, the more stable your identity. When behavior becomes truly automatic, it moves from something you do to part of who you are.
This is the beautiful culmination of our journey. We began understanding we are our repetitions. We learned decision and proof, reflection, social mirrors, even embracing creative rituals. Now we reach the finish line, total automation.
Let's talk about the newest frontier in the battle for your identity. It's not in the gym or kitchen, it's in your pocket, on your phone. We're now architects of ourselves in two parallel worlds, physical and digital. If you think your online life doesn't shape your core identity, you're missing the most powerful force influencing who you are today. Social media and digital spaces aren't just distractions. They're modern arenas for identity formation, places where you can try on new selves with lower stakes. You can be a guild leader, a witty intellectual, a mentor.
But here's the dangerous paradox. That powerful sense of online belonging can create a deep, gnawing stress, a dissonance between your digital self and real-world self.
Have you felt this? When your online version feels more successful than the you sitting alone? When your digital tribe's values clash with what you truly cherish? That's not just anxiety, it's an identity civil war.
I lived this. Building my channel, I created a YouTube identity, always on, always positive. The digital me never struggled, the real me was exhausted and doubtful. I had to ask, am I using this platform to express who I am, or letting it define who I should be?
Your digital habits are potent identity-forming rituals. Every scroll, every curated post, every argument, these are votes building your repeated being in the digital ether.
So, we've reached the end of our journey. We promised you the exact framework, the single most important concept, the shock absorber for failure, and a simple 5-minute ritual. Now, we bring it all together.
The master key isn't a secret hack. It's a simple, daily engine. It's the fusion of the 3 core elements we've explored.
First, the 2-step identity engine. Every day, you make a decision about who you are. I am a healthy person. But a decision alone is fragile. It needs proof. That 10-minute walk, that salad, that 1-page read, that's your proof. It's a brick in the foundation of your new self. You are literally collecting evidence for the case you're building for your new identity.
Second, the shock absorber. Compassionate reflection. You will miss a day. The old voice will scream, "See, you're a fraud." This is the critical moment. Don't let one missed brick collapse the entire castle. Instead, reflect for 60 seconds. Ask, why did I skip? Was I tired, or was my trigger gone? This isn't failure, it's a system update. Reflection turns setbacks into upgrades, making your identity resilient. And finally, the promised 5-minute ritual. This is the daily practice that binds it all together. Minute 1. Ask, what one tiny thing did I do today that my ideal self would do? Minute 2. Visualize that action as a solid brick, adding it to your castle. Minute 3. State out loud, this proves I am someone who values health, is a writer, is organized. Minute 4. Ask, what one brick can I place tomorrow? Minute 5. Just sit in the feeling of being the builder. This ritual connects decision to proof and seals it with reflection. It's the keystone habit that makes all other habits stick. Your identity is not a treasure you find. It's a castle you build, brick by brick, through your smallest, most repeated actions. You are the architect. You are the builder. The most important step is the first one you take after this ends. So I have one final question for you. What's the one single tiny brick you will lay today?